All right, so synthetic division, here's the big kicker with it. It cannot be used for everything. It can only be used if the divisor, whatever you're dividing by, is in the form x plus or minus, I don't care which symbol, a, where a stands for a number. So it has to be like x minus 3 or x plus 5. Right? It has to be x plus or minus a number. Okay? So if it's like 2x plus 7, no good. If it's like x squared minus 3, no good. All right, it's got to be just x plus or minus number. Got that? Okay. So think about whatever all the problems we did on last night's homework. Some of those I could have used synthetic on, but a lot of them I couldn't have. Yeah. So if it's not in that form, you have to use long division. All right, so here we go. Now, no whining, no complaining. Hang with me for at least a couple examples because this is very different. 8 of them. All right, so here's your steps. Number 1, write the coefficients. What's a coefficient? The big number in front, right? Big number in front. So write the coefficients, including the zeros. Remember we talked yesterday about like when stuff was missing? Like if it went from x cubed to x, we're like, oh, it's missing x squared. We have to put zeros in place of those. If we don't, it's wrong. You need to put zeros in for synthetic, okay? So I make sure it's in standard form, as always. It's kind of a given. We want to have it in standard form. Step 2, you will omit all variables and exponents. What's omit mean? Erase, get rid of, be gone, no more. Okay, so I'm going to omit, get rid of all of my variables and all of my exponents. Sound kind of nice, right? I get rid of all the x's, I get rid of all the exponents, I don't have to worry about them. For the divisor, what you're dividing by, you will use the opposite sign of a. Or, in other words, the answer if set equal to 0, which we've done this a lot. Okay, so all of that in mind, we're just going to jump right into it, okay? No whining, no complaining, just watch me at least a couple of them before we say anything, okay? It's very different, but it's very easy. All right, here we go. So, divide, use synthetic division. Is the divisor a factor of the polynomial? How do you know if it's a factor or not? No remainder. There's no remainder, it's a factor. All right, so guys, I'm taking this part right here, dividing by x minus 2. Notice it's in the form x plus or minus a number, right? It's just x minus 2. So I can use synthetic. So when I set this up, first of all, notice is anything missing? I went x cubed, x squared, x to the first, number. I'm okay. It's stair-stepped every step all the way down, so I'm good. So I'm just going to write the coefficients. What number is in front of this? 1, 5, -7, and 2. Okay, so I'm going to write just my coefficients, leave a nice little space in between them all so we don't kind of mix up what number is which. And then typically we do a division sign over the top. This one's different. It's actually down the bottom. And we leave a gap underneath there. Again, no whining, no complaining, just hang with me. You'll like this once you see it. I drew it. Stop working ahead. I told you this is totally different. All right, and we are dividing by x minus 2. So what would be the answer to x minus 2? If I set it equal to 0 and solved it, it'd be 2. So you know with long division I have to change my signs constantly? You just changed your sign. Don't have to worry about it anymore. All right, so if I ask you to divide by x minus 2, I'm dividing by just 2, because the answer would be 2. All right, you will take whatever that first number is, and you're going to, I always draw an arrow there just to kind of be a space filler, and drop it straight down. Justin, you with me? Arrow, whatever that first number is, drop it straight down. We are going to multiply and then add. Okay? So you're going to multiply. What is 2 times 1? And that will get written underneath the next number. And then I'm going to add straight down. 5 plus 2 is 7. You guys with me so far? Then I'm going to multiply 2 times 7. I'm going to write that underneath the next number. And then negative 7 plus 14 is 7. I'm going to multiply again. 2 times 7. And then I'm going to add, and I get 16. You guys with me so far? Any questions to what I did there? We're almost done. This problem started x cubed, correct? And I divided out how many x's? Just one. So this would be x squared. X squared. That's a plus. What's the next stair stop from x squared would be x plus 7. Am I done stair stepping my x's? So what's this? That's my remainder. Done. Isn't that amazing? It's fantastic. Now, the question is always like, whoa, how does that work? Where do these numbers come from, right? Let's work this problem again. And you can write it down or not, or just watch me. I'm going to do it in long division. And I want you to see the comparison between the two. Okay? So if I do x cubed plus 5x squared minus 7x plus 2 divided by x minus 2. Right? This is how we learned it yesterday. That's how we would have done it. What do you multiply x to get x cubed? So x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times negative 2 is negative 2x squared. You would change your signs. This would give me 7x squared. You start to recognize where things are. What do you multiply x? Oh, I should bring all this down, sorry. What do you multiply x to get 7x squared? 7x. 7x times x. 7x squared. 7x times negative 2. These numbers starting to look familiar by what stuff I've been putting up there. Change your signs. That gives me 7x. Bring down the plus 2. What do you multiply x by to get 7x? 7 times x. 7 times negative 2. 14. Change your signs. It gives me 16. My remainder, 16 over x minus 2. But can you kind of see, you start to recognize some of those similar numbers that you did with the synthetic? They start to show up right in there. No? The long division, the way the long division worked out versus the synthetic, that's always the way it works. But you can only use synthetic in certain cases.
So if you use long division, it's always going to be the middle one's going to be the answer, basically. Because if you look at it, the 14, if you add the 2 to that, you get your 16.
No, well, your answer is always right here. This in between here is all the work I have to do to get that answer. Don't overthink this. You're making it harder than it has to be. Let's look at another one, okay? All right, so number 2. So again, I'm going to set it up. Can I use synthetic with this one? Let's make sure. Yes, because it's just x plus or minus a number. So I'm okay. I can use synthetic. So what numbers do I fill out first? All right, all my coefficients. Upside down division. Negative 2. Good, because if I set x plus 2 equal to 0 and solve, it's negative 2. What's my very first step in setting this up? Drop the 1 down. We multiply negative 2 times 1. Let's go slow enough everybody can keep up, okay? I know some of you have got this already. Then we're going to add what's negative 14 plus negative 2. It's negative 16. And we're going to multiply negative 2 times negative 16. It's positive 32. And we're going to add. And we're going to multiply negative 2 times 83. And then we're going to add those together. It's big numbers going on in there, right? All right, now we got to go back and look. I started x cubed, so this would be x squared minus 16x plus 83. I got an extra number over here. What is it? It's my remainder. I'm done. So what do you think about synthetic division? It's my favorite. It's fast. Because this doesn't work on everything. It doesn't. It just doesn't work on everything. Why don't you guys try 3 on your own? Just a heads up, what do you notice right away on number 3? It's out of order. So make sure you put it in the right order before you try it. All right, let's go ahead and go over this. So make sure you had to put it in the right order first. So then our coefficients are 2, 1, negative 8, and 5. And then we're dividing by negative 3. Good. So drop down the 2, multiply, add, negative 5, multiply, it's 15, add, 7, multiply, negative 21, add, negative 16. So again, I started x cubed, so this will be x squared minus 5x plus 7, which means the 16 is my remainder. X plus 3. You like it? Good. I like it too. If your back hurts, guys, you need to use more of your ab muscles. You're using too much of your back. You use your abs. Justin, did you do the whole minute 20 on the ball? Nice. Yeah, the ball is hard. But you held it. Attaboy. Okay? Well, we're trying to work on that for you. All right, guys, number 4. We have to get through this, guys. Number 4. Notice it's written slightly different. Means the same thing. Fraction bar just means divide. Does anybody notice something? It's missing the x squared. So when I'm writing my coefficients, I have a 1, a 0, because you're missing the x squared term. So I put the 0 in there. And then you have negative 57, and then 56. Good. Positive 7 on the outside. So that's probably the hardest part of this, is just being able to remember, hey, if you're missing a term, you have to put a 0 in. If you don't, it's wrong. Very, 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 very wrong. So that's 7 times 1 is 0 plus 7 is 7. 49. Negative 57 plus 49 is negative 8. 7 times negative 8, negative 56. 56 minus 56 is 0. Good. This one actually is a factor. So we started x cubed, so this is x squared plus 7x minus 8, no remainder. So it is a factor. That one actually went nice and pretty.
Are we going to do a whole paper on these like we did a whole paper on the last one?
Mm-hmm.
So these?
Yep.
I promise that I'll get my homework. Because these are quick, so I can do them right after work.
Yeah. All right. Guys. Number 5. Number 5. Anything missing? It's missing the x squared. So we need to start with 3, negative 5, 0, negative 4, negative 6. Good. Because here's your x to the 4th, your x cubed, there's your x squared, your x, and your number. No? Good. Positive 2 is what we're dividing by. It's funny we say we're dividing by, but we don't divide at all. We multiply and add. Drop down your 3. I'll do it up here, you do it at your desk. We'll see if we end up with the same thing, okay? You get really good at it. All right. So take a minute, go through your numbers. It's okay. If I went real fast, you don't go that fast. It's okay. I practice a lot. All right, check your numbers. Okay. So this one started x to the fourth. So where does this one start? X to the third. So 3x cubed plus 1x squared plus 2x plus 0. What's the negative 6? That's your remainder. Plus negative 6 over x minus 2. Would you need the plus 0 in there? No, you wouldn't have to. So technically, if I wanted, it's not wrong, but could I eliminate that altogether? Yes, you could. Yeah, if you want the 0, I'm not going to count it wrong. Questions there? Doing okay? Awesome. We'll hold this part until after. I want to take just a second, go back. Number 6 from yesterday, the last problem we did yesterday, we did it with long division. Could I have used synthetic? Now, do you have this written down in your notes? Was it super long and annoying? Let's look at it with synthetic. There are tons of zeros. Look at all the things that are missing. Remember we talked about that yesterday. I'm like, what's it missing? You guys are like, everything. So when we're doing our coefficients, we have 1, that's x to the 5th, 0 for x to the 4th, a 0 for x to the 3rd, 0 for x squared, a 0 for x, and then negative 32. I would, just because it's a really great example of when things are missing. Because look at all the stuff that's missing. Okay? And the beautiful thing about synthetic, how much room do you need? Not much. What are you dividing by? Positive 2. So let's go through this one. How much faster it is. 2 times 1. 0 plus 2. 2 times 2. 0 plus 4. 2 times 4. 0 plus 8. 2 times 8. 0 plus 16. 2 times 16. Negative 32 plus 32. 0. So this one started x to the 5th, so I start x to the 4th. So 1x to the 4th plus 2x cubed plus 4x squared plus 8x plus 16 and no remainder. It was a factor. Look how much faster that was.
I like these a lot better.
Yeah, and I knew you would. Synthetic's way easier, way faster. The only thing that's going to throw you for a curve is not recognizing zeros are there, if you miss those. But that, honestly, that's the first thing I do. If I know I'm using synthetic, I'm like, is anything missing? I look at that before I even write anything down. Try. Both. It's just easier, period. Yeah. Now, what happens, though, if I'm trying to divide by, like, x squared minus 2? You can't do it with synthetic. You'd have to use long division. And again, synthetic is only if it's x plus or minus a number. Plus or minus a number. It could be either way. All right.